Hi, my name is Aaron with Superior Singing Method, and this is Singing Tips, 3 easy singing tips for beginners. Okay, singing tips, 3 easy singing tips for beginner. Singing tip number 1, the tongue. The tongue in the mouth is fine for most of life things, but it's not great for singing. I mean, it can be, but it's one of the greatest enemies of the singer. Now, the tongue is the only muscle in the body that's attached to one end and not attached to the other end. So it doesn't know what to do, right? It just like gets in the way. It's always there in the way. So what are you supposed to do with your tongue when you sing? Now, 75% of the time, you want the tip of your tongue on the bottom, back of your teeth on the bottom there. So like, in fact, if you say the word, hey, 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 see what your tongue does when you do that? See if it kind of naturally lays down and the tip of it on the back of your teeth. That's about where you want your tongue, about 70% of the time. Obviously, what you want it there pretty much always during vowel sounds, right? But during consonants, like a T or an N or whatever, of course the tip of your tongue is going to jump up to the N and T. But when you're singing, you want to get off those consonants really fast anyway, because most of singing is singing vowels. And you just want to hit that consonant and get that tongue right back down. And you want to mostly sing in the vowels, because the beautiful sound of singing is in the vowels, not the t and n and b, those sounds. Of course, that's not where the best singing is. So for the most part, you want on the back of your teeth, tip of your tongue on the lower back of your teeth. And what this is going to do is going to give you better tone. It's going to give you more resonant and full sounding voice, which of course is what you want as a singer. Number 2, I promised 3 tips. Here's number 2. Number 2 is that posture makes a huge difference when you're singing. Like you don't even realize how much of a difference. If you're like bent over or leaning or not quite, your posture is not that great, it doesn't give it's harder to diaphragm breathe. I'm sure you've heard this idea of diaphragm breathing. And I'm not going to go into great depth about diaphragm breathing. On my channel, you can find, I've got videos that are like all about that and they break it all down. But just for our purposes right now, when you have good posture, what happens is you breathe in, you get a nice full deep breath, and the diaphragm, it descends and pushes the intestines to the side and the front, and it creates all this space in your cavity there, in your ribs, behind your ribs, for your lungs to be able to expand. And that's where great singing comes from, is having enough air in your lungs to be able to do those notes. So that's number 2. The third thing is, and this is going to sound so simple, but I remember when I was a kid, this was like massive for me, just this one thing. This really great singer, he told me, hey, you need to open your mouth more and enunciate a little bit more when you sing. It'll massively help your singing. What I didn't realize is I was kind of like a mumble mouth like this, and so I didn't have a lot of, the sound couldn't do a lot inside my mumble mouth, and I wasn't enunciating, so you couldn't like quite hear what I was saying. And I was blocking off all kinds of the resonators inside my mouth because I wasn't opening up my mouth more when I was singing. You don't want like, you don't want to way open. That's ridiculous, right? But open your mouth a little more than you would think, enunciate a little more than you would think, and it's going to really help your tone. Here's the final thing, and this is actually the best thing I'm going to tell you right now. I've created a quiz, a free quiz for you to take that's going to help you find your number 1 singing killer. And the reason this is so important is that once we've discovered what our number 1 singing killer is and we correct it, that singing killer acts as kind of a bottleneck. But once you open that up, it like opens up all kinds of possibility for your singing, and a lot of the stuff that you were doing, like even if you're doing some other exercise and you're like, it's kind of working, it's kind of not, a lot of that stuff is going to begin to work once you unlock this number 1 singing killer. Here's even better news. Once you click the link below or wherever it is, click the link, take the quiz, it takes about 30 seconds, find out what your number 1 singing killer is, and then after that, once you find out what yours is, I'm going to send you a tailor-made video for your singing killer that's going to help you correct it. It's a video that's going to show you how to correct your number 1 singing killer. So what are you waiting for? Click that link, take that quiz, and I will send you the correction video, and let's start unlocking your singing ability. I'll see you on the other side.